For f***'s sake.
I bought this MX5 for £1,000 and it's been a right nightmare. The head gasket was gone, the MAF sensor failed, the tyres were shot, it broke down.
For f***'s sake.
And now rust, but more about that later. This is an episode where things started out as trouble but quickly spiralled out of control. But we will begin with a positive note, one of my solutions. The solution to the problem is in the back of the car. Now I know that sounds a little bit ludicrous and people probably think, why have you bought a new engine rather than just replacing the head gasket? Well, I'll tell you why. The new engine in the back of the car was 80 quid, or I could have spent 600 on a head gasket or tried to do the head gasket myself, but for 80 quid and a bit of time involved and a day's labour to take the engine out and put this one in, I think it's well worth it. But what I didn't realise was the optimist in me was about to be proven wrong. Completely wrong. However, before that hurdle arose, we needed to head back to the barn. And that is why I have the man here that's currently got his arse to the camera, which is Matt Troy. And we're going to remove the engine and replace the engine. And I know that sounds ridiculous because we're basically putting a new engine in to solve a head gasket problem, but my thought process is, if I'd ever had to replace the head gasket, I would have had to take everything off. Whilst I was there, I might as well have done the timing belts as well. I would have had to have the head re-skimmed, that would have cost money, and I reckon it probably would have ended up costing about 500 quid to do it. But I ended up buying an engine for £90 with the same mileage. It runs, it drives, it's going in, and hopefully it'll solve the problem. So I won't talk anymore. Let's get this mofo out. We started by disconnecting all the hoses, cables and pipes. Then I jacked the car up with all four wheels off the floor to begin unbolting the skid plates and the protection trays. Some bolts wanted to put up a fight, so a little heat helped with that. Then it was time to remove the spine protecting the prop shaft, and finally the wheels to give us more room when crawling underneath. Now the plan is to put a ramp in this barn, but we need to get rid of this headache first. The next thing we've got to do is unbolt these three bolts that are across here. We'll get a cutaway of it so you can see. We're going to take them out, which should stop the gearbox being bolted and rested to the car. Then we've got to do the prop at the back and then get up at the manifold at the front, and it should allow us to pull that out through the front of the car. I'm out of breath, I know, I can only apologise for that, but it's quite difficult getting into these awkward places when you're pushing 16 stone and you're not an acrobat.
And the rest.
Yeah, and the rest. He wishes. So if I get these undone, and I know for a fact with my luck, one of them is bound to snap. I don't want to jinx it. These ones seem to be well oiled.
That's because it's been leaking.
Don't say that. And then I just, yeah, oh, all three without snapping. Tell you what, who needs a Matty Troy when you can do this?
I loosened them before you got under.
Yeah, of course you did. What are you undoing?
Fuel pipes.
Fuel pipes, and they've got these rubbish plastic connectors on them that always break.
Yep. These
Lines.
clips are a bag off.
Bag off.
I'm not saying, it's YouTube, innit?
All right. Have you ever thought about using one of these? What you do is you get a small little pencil like that, round the pipe, push it up and pull it. It should come off very easily.
Well, that's about
You know what I mean? You've got a snap-on toolbox, but you haven't got one of them, mate.
Round the pipe.
Slide it up into the union.
Slide it up.
And then she'll pull it up. Look at that. 1-0.
1-0.
Matt has disconnected all the hoses in the engine bay with my added touch of wisdom to get the fuel line, wiring loom, plug thing, whatever you want to call them, off the top of the engine. I've unbolted the gearbox underneath, we've propped it, I've undone the manifold. Quite difficult, and in a second we're going to try and get this out through the front of the car. It is hard to get bolts out from underneath, especially with how old this car is. It's actually 22 years old nearly. So one thing we have been doing is heating things up with a blowtorch, because the last thing you want to do is snap the bolts, like I have just snapped one of them because I got lazy and tired. So yeah, so we're going to basically try and get this engine out through the front now, separate it from the gearbox on the floor, put the new engine, well I say new, used engine onto the gearbox, get the belt swapped over on it, and then try and get it back in the car. Difficult task, but hopefully we'll get there. I was starting to think I should have just stripped the original engine down and swapped the head gasket, but honestly, tearing the MX-5 apart has taught me how the whole thing actually works. What Matt is basically doing here, people, is unbolting the prop off the diff, and I've just got to take orders and just, right, handbrake on, and he's supervising.
Hang on, what
have you got on?
Heated Gilly.
And heated jacket. Oh. And heated jacket.
And heated jacket.
There you go. I did have a go at this just to let everyone know, but I think I thought I'd best leave it to the chief spanner monkey, which is this man. Oh dear. Did that snap?
No.
Good laddie!
Yeah, brute force and ignorance gets you a fair way in life.
It does, but it also can cause problems.
Nah, problems are just stuff to get over.
So his fingers are up there now, undoing the prop and diff. And then what I have to do is take the handbrake off and spin this wheel so the bolt comes to the lowest point, closest to the floor, so you can get the socket in and out.
Which I'm ready for the next one.
Okie dokie, 1 second. Handbrake off. Say when, Matthew.
Yeah, go for it. I'll do.
Yeah, handbrake on. We've also took the radiator out of the engine bay just to give us a bit more room, and then I'm going to tidy up any bits of surface rust in the engine bay, paint it when this is out, and then we'll get the new engine in here. This now should be ready to come out, hopefully. Just going to get a strap through there. And finally, the throbbing pain was about to be out of the way. All we had to do now was put the new engine back in, and that's the issue solved. So there we have it. The engine is out of the MX-5, and now it's time to get the new engine bolted onto the gearbox. But then an old friend showed up. Rust is actually really bloody bad. Like, it's gone through there, and they have been done on the other side of the chassis leg. So I think while the engine's out, I'm going to take advantage of that space, and it's sadly I'm going to have to do a bit of cutting, grinding and welding and a bit of painting to get that sorted, because I can't let someone buy this car in that condition. The chassis legs have been done on this side and that side, but on the outside of the chassis rail. Yeah, it's just problematic, and I really do not think I am going to make a single bit of profit on this car, so we will see. So, it looked like I was back to my old routine, cutting, grinding, welding and smelling like rusty metal. Definitely not what I had in mind when I bought this car. But me and Matt, we cracked on and got to work. To speed things up, Matt carried on cutting out the replacement panels while I started fitting the gearbox onto the donor engine. And that's when I found yet another problem. The clutch plate is absolutely battered, and there is nothing on that pretty much. There's all gouges in it, and it makes perfect sense because when I was driving this car to the MOT station, I thought it was something to do with it overheating, but it did start to bang and judder setting off in first gear. Now, with us coming this far, it's absolutely pointless ignoring that and putting it back in. So I'm gonna have to nip out and see if I can get a replacement clutch. Otherwise, this is going to have to be addressed on another weekend, so we'll see, but that is knackered. But nipping out didn't happen because it turns out that nowhere stocked a clutch for a 22-year-old car, and it had to be ordered in. So there we have it, day one on the MX-5 complete. Been a really productive day, but I'm not going to lie, this has been a lot more work than expected. We're simply just hoping to take the old engine out, put the new Recon engine onto the existing gearbox and slide it back in, but obviously we found rust, which was a pain, and that's now been addressed, and it's just currently soaking in etch primer. And then we also found that the clutch is ruined. So sadly, there has been none in stock. So what we're gonna have to do is wait, and then tomorrow when this is all dry, we're just gonna give it a bit of a rub back and paint it in this lovely, is it splash green, the color? It is splash green or splash blue. Get the engine bay painted, get it all cleaned up, and then get all the bits off that engine off the old engine onto the new engine, and then once we're done there, we'll try and get it dried up. But yeah, what a day. So I'll join you tomorrow. Whilst we waited for the clutch to arrive, we sealed the fresh metal, locking out the rust for good. And once it had turned up, I had to remove the flywheel off the old engine and install it onto the new donor engine. Right, so now the flywheel is off the old engine onto the new engine and torqued up, we need to put the new clutch in with the pressure plate. Now, with these clutches, you can get them the wrong way around if you don't know what you're doing, but this one has kindly come printed where it says flywheel side. So that basically goes towards the flywheel, pressure plate goes on, and then we also need to replace the thrust bearing, which is this in this bag, in the gearbox, bolt the gearbox on, start a motor back in, and we do it all in reverse. I've had to do this car over a couple of nights. I know when I do these episodes, it might all seem very fast and fun and that things happen quick. It doesn't. Obviously, I have to wait for parts to arrive. We're dealing with the dark nights. We're just literally trying to get everything through. So yeah, what I do is when I know I'm gonna come away from the car, so I know where the bolts go, I put them back in the holes. Just a little Tom's top tip. Pretty simple really, but it definitely helps out with memory. And I also take a lot of photographs. Just want to add as well, when we're tightening these bolts up, just nip them so far, but you always want to go cross corners. Last thing we want to do is put all the pressure down on that plate and it splits the corner. So just slowly going around, nipping them up, cross corners, make sure that's getting a bit tighter.
And once I'd nipped them up, I used a torque wrench to ensure the bolts were at the correct force.
Now this in here is the thrust bearing, and to get this off you've basically got to stick your hands in, get them behind the two little clips. I'll show you on the new one so it's a bit obvious. Basically you've got those two little clips there, you've got to stick your hands in behind, pull it forward, lever it off and push that on, and that is the new one. I mean, look at how crisp that is. So if we just, there we go, there's the old one. That has definitely seen better days. So we got this one, same way it came off, pull the clip forward, push it in, give it a wiggle, give it on, make sure it moves freely, doesn't come off. That is it, that is the release bearing secured.
Then I fitted the gearbox back onto the engine, but by this point the whole build had felt like one huge setback, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared for what came next.
So like an absolute numpty, I've bought this engine and I've not, well I have looked at it, but obviously when everything's caked in crap and it's getting lifted in and the price of it was so cheap, I didn't really bother looking too much, and we've just found the timing belt cover is all broken in here, absolutely shot. You can see the belt inside there, there's the other bit of plastic. The whole reason for me buying this engine was so I didn't have to do the timing belt and water pump on that one when stripping it down to the head, and I'm now going to have to do the timing belt and water pump on this one, which means my, I think if I recall it right, £80 little cheat for fixing knackered head gasket is probably going to turn into another 170 quid into this engine to swap all that without factoring in my time. So sadly, that's the end of this episode. It is not going back in there just yet. I'm gutted, mate. I'm absolutely